Hello there, it's Sarah from Paper Lovely. Thanks for joining me today. I am back with part 2 of my 10 cards 1 kit using the Spellbinders September card kit. If you missed the first 5 cards, make sure you check out the video that I posted yesterday. So I am jumping here into card number 6, and I have trimmed out a panel that measures 3 3/4 by 5 inches from this blue plaid pattern paper. I've added some of that double-sided tape to the back, and I'll place that on top of my card base. I'm going to take this window die cut and turn this into a shaker. So I'm just going around all 4 sides here on the back, adding some more of that double-sided tape. And then I have trimmed off a piece of acetate that will fit behind there, and I'm going to place that down. Just trimming off that little bit of excess there. And now I'm going to create the edges for my shakers to fit in. So I'm just going to run this. This is 1/4 of an inch foam tape all the way around these 4 edges again. And then once I get one layer done, I will go ahead and add a second just to make sure I have lots of room for those sequins. I'm going to be using a sequin mix from Tailored Expressions. This is called Snow Flurry. And I'm just going to lay that out here on the front of my card base. And once I'm happy with the positioning, I will peel away the backing and go ahead and place my window on top. And there is my shaker. So I'm going to decorate that up a little bit more. I've grabbed 2 of these watercolor flowers and a few of the leaves. I'm going to lay these out towards the bottom of the window. And once I have them positioned in a way that I like, I'm going to grab my art glitter glue and I'll go ahead and get these leaves attached. And then I'll glue my flowers in place as well. So I wanted to pop up the leaf and bottom portion of that flower just to keep everything nice and even with that window. I'm gonna add a little bit of art glitter glue and then stick that down. Now I'm going to add this second one here as well, but you'll see in a minute that I wasn't quite happy with the placement of the flowers. I just felt like they were a little too far over to the side, so I pulled in another and thought maybe I would add a third, but I didn't like that either. So here I'm just really carefully peeling that back up. I'm going to center those a little bit more on my window. And once I'm happy with that placement, I'll add a little bit more of that art glitter glue and get those placed down. I've grabbed this Hello die cut from the ephemera set. I'm going to add some dots of art glitter glue behind that, and then I'll place that across my flowers. For the inside, I've got a Nina panel, also trimmed to 3 3/4 by 5 inches. All of my pattern paper and inside panels are that size, and then I do pull in some cardstock panels that I've trimmed to fit the full front of the card bases. So if you see one of those measure 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I've grabbed a few other of the die cuts there, glued those down to create my sentiment. And I'm going to peel away the backing on my tape, and I'll go ahead and place this panel on the inside of my card base. And that will complete card number 6. So here for card number 7, I'm working on a blue cardstock panel, and I've got this sort of mint colored polka dot pattern paper. I've gone ahead and laid everything out, just creating a little cluster with the books and the flowers and the leaves, and I'm going to get everything glued in place. So I've gone ahead here and added the sentiments up at the top, and then I'm going to pull away the books and the flowers along the bottom. I'm just going to go ahead and get these flowers glued down in place. Now I'm just adding a few dots just to sort of get those tacked, because around the edges I want to add some foam dots and pop those up to give a little bit of extra dimension. So once I've got those positioned how I'd like them, I'm going to grab my foam dots and I'll add just a few of these. I'm just going to trim this out to get the sizes that I need. And I'll add these underneath, just sort of the peaks of those flowers to help them stick up a little bit. Next, I'll grab my stack of books, get those popped up as well. And then once I have those in place, I will add my final 2 flowers. I'll add some double-sided tape behind my panel. Peel away the backing and get that placed down on top of my cardstock. And then finally, I wanted to add some of these gemstones. I thought these were absolutely beautiful. They're one of my favorite things about the kit this month. I'll add some art glitter glue to the back of my panel and then place that down on top of my card base. For the inside, I've grabbed another one of the die cut sentiments that reads "The Real Deal," added some art glitter glue, and then place that off to the side of my panel. I'll add some double-sided tape to the back of my panel and then go ahead and place that on the inside of my card base. And that will complete card number 7. For card number 8, I'm going to be using another one of these quote boards. This was the die cut that was included this month, but I have spared you me putting this together. I showed that in my previous video, so if you're curious how I do that, you can see that there. I've got a cardstock panel cut here from this pretty maroon cardstock. I've added some double-sided tape to the back of that, and I'll place that on top of my card base. Just trim that down a little there. I had just a sliver of that card base peeking out below. I've got some pattern paper. I'm going to place that down as well. Then I'm going to pop up this quote board using some Scotch foam tape. I'll peel away the backing and place that down in the center of my card. And then for this one, I decided I wanted to add the camera and some flowers surrounding that. So I'm just going to strategically place that camera to cover up one of those branches of leaves. And here I'm going to bring in my bloom tool, and you need some type of a cushiony mat in order to use this. So I like to use my embossing mat that goes with my die cutting machine. So you just basically take that ballpoint. There are two different sizes. I'm using the smallest one. I roll mine around in the center of each of the flowers and then just create a little line on the leaves that gives them a vein and just a little bit of a curl to them. I'm going to go ahead and glue down my camera, and then I will get my flowers and leaves added. For the inside, I'm working on my usual Nina panel, and I'm going to stamp out the sentiment, "Happy looks good on you." I'm using Lawn Fawn cranberry ink. I've added some of that double-sided tape to the back. I'll peel away the backing and place that on the inside of my card base. And that will complete card number 8. For card number 9, you can see I've sort of got my pattern lined up there off to the side. I'm going to stamp out the sentiment with sympathy, and I'm working on some of the light gray cardstock that was included, stamping that with my Simon Says Stamp black ink. I've added some double-sided tape to the back of this wood grain pattern paper. For measurements, this is about 1.5 inches is the wood grain, and then the plaid that I placed that on is about 2.25, and the gray strip with the sentiment is just about 1 inch. So I'm just going to layer all 3 of these together. And then I'll add this strip to the top of my panel with all of the dogs on it. Then I'll add some ATG to the back of that, and I'm going to place that on top of a gray cardstock panel. Just making sure I have my positioning right there. And I'll go ahead and trim off that excess. I've grabbed one of the mason jars and the 2 dog bones. I'm going to glue these on top so it looks like they are treats sitting in the jar. And then I'll pop this up with some of my foam dots. Going to add some art glitter glue to the back of that panel, and I'll place this on top of my card base. Then here for the inside panel, I'm going to stamp out the sentiment, thinking of you. And I'll finish this up with one of the blue dog die cuts. I'll add some ATG to the back of that and place that on the inside of my card base. And that will complete card number 9. Here for card number 10, I'm going to use another one of these window die cuts. This time I'm just going to add some vellum behind that. So I've just added 2 stripes of that double-sided tape. I'll peel away that backing, place down my window, and then trim away the excess. I've laid everything out here on top of this floral panel. I'm going to add some art glitter glue behind the window and get that put in place. Then for my butterfly, I'm going to take my pokey tool. You could use a bone folder for this as well. I'm just going to create 2 lines on either side of the body of the butterfly. Then I can go ahead and fold that so I can get the flutter of those wings, but still be able to glue this flat down just behind where the little body section is. And I'll go ahead and get my sentiment glue down as well. And I'll add some double-sided tape to the back of that panel. I did switch out my cardstock. I thought the blue background looked better with the blue that was in that floral pattern paper. So I'll go ahead and peel away the backing here and place this down on top. For the inside, I'm going to add another one of these die cuts. This one reads "So Wonderful." And I'll trim away that little bit of excess off the edge there. I've added some art glitter glue to the back of my front panel. I'll place that down on top of my card base. And then I added some double-sided tape to the back of my inside panel. I'm going to place that here on the inside of my card base. And I felt like that still needed a little something more, so I did grab this "Home is Where You Are" die cut. I'll add some glitter glue behind that and place that in the bottom corner. And that will complete card number 10. Here are a few close-ups of the finished cards. In the description box below, you'll find my blog post, which has additional photos and links to the supplies I used. If you enjoyed the video, please leave me a comment or a thumbs up and subscribe for more. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.